I'm 26F, pregnant for the first time with husband's 36M baby. His daughter, 7F, from his first marriage is ruining my life. I'm sure my husband doesn't even know that Reddit exists, but I'm sure we have friends who go on this sub, so I'm using a throwaway for this one. I feel like the worst person in the world for typing this out to begin with, but I need some reassurance or some practical ways I can handle this situation. Backstory. My husband and I are very much in love. We met over 5 years ago through work and got married last year. It was my first marriage and his second. We recently bought a house together and everything, and decided it was a good time to start a family. After months of trying, I am now pregnant with a beautiful, wrinkly fetus. I'm about 5 months along at the moment, and though I feel a bit more emotional craving crazy than I used to be, I still feel rather healthy and good about myself. My husband was supportive and took very good care of me, until Ava, obviously not her real name, came into our life. Ava is from my husband's first marriage. He was married to a kind woman who, after only 4 years of marriage, grew bored of him and cheated on him with many men. When my husband found out, he went through her cell phone on a gut feeling. He was livid and upset with her. She had been sending and receiving nudes for months back. Despite this, he wanted to work things out with her, but she had already moved in with another man, taken Ava with her, served him divorce papers along with a restraining order. She has also sent Ava to therapists, trying to brainwash her into thinking my husband was a neglectful father. My husband took this sack of shit to court to fight for joint custody but ultimately lost. He can only see her a few times a year. Immediately after winning, said sack of shit took Ava and moved to a different city almost 3 hours away with her new man. Since her birth in 2007, my husband has only seen Ava about a dozen times for special occasions or weddings. He technically still has custody of her, but not at all primary. Only on paper. Meeting. We met when I was 20 and he was 30. He was still in the middle of divorce papers and was wrecked from having to pay alimony along with child support and not being able to get any closure on his marriage or access to his daughter. We became good friends and hung out often until about a year into the friendship we decided to move in together. I needed a roommate, and he needed a roommate because he could no longer support himself living alone. We fell for each other gradually until we were in love, and after his finances were straightened out he proposed to me and we were married last year as I'd said before. Now, long story short, Ava's rent-a-room broke it off with yet another man. Word of mouth is, she met another man online who lives an entire state away and wanted to go live with him. She left Ava with her parents, Ava's maternal grandparents, who live in our city, but the maternal grandparents are old. They are old, weak, and though they like having their granddaughter around, they can't raise her. They can't help with homework or help her get ready for school. They don't drive. So one day Ava literally just showed up on our doorstep and we've had to readjust our whole lives for her. I've never had so much hatred for a 7-year-old in my life. I feel like shit. Ava is the rudest little girl I've ever seen. She has no manners and no consideration for anyone. She talks back to her father and gives him attitude. She only smiles and acts loving when she wants something, like new toys or clothes she wants. When she found out she was to get a younger sibling, I let her rub my belly. Instead she smacked me. She smacked my belly at random times when I walk past her and it makes me livid and drives me to tears. I tell her that it's unacceptable to hit anyone, especially her sibling, but she screams that I'm not her mom and I can't tell her what to do. Who's heard of that one before? I told my husband about her behavior and how she acts when he's not around, deliberately makes messes that I have to clean, draws on my paintings and books with markers, won't eat my home-cooked food but demands pizza and ice cream, and instead of scolding and disciplining her, he placates her and gets her what she wants. His idea of scolding is don't do that again, okay? It's like he's gone from being a dependable family man to a flaccid doormat of a father. I want to send her back to her sack of shit mother. Maybe she'd be better off in foster care, but at this point I don't care anymore. Is there any way that I can deal with this in a practical way? I can't even keep my head straight. I don't like feeling toxic when I am about to be a mother. I've tried so hard to be a mother figure to this girl the best I can be, but this girl is beastly to me. I'm always walking by her with my hands around my belly in case she strikes me again. If this is how she is going to be, I don't want her to affect my unborn baby. She's already having a profound negative effect on my husband. I hate her stupid white trash mother for ripping her away from my husband, denying him access, and then dumping her on her parents and then onto us once she wanted some new out-of-state cock to ride. I know this girl is the consequence of her environment, it has to be, but I don't know what we can do at this point. I've never worked with behavioral children, and I've never dreamed that I'd be a wicked stepmother figure in the midst of being barefoot and pregnant. My question is, how the hell can I sort this family out without going absolutely mental? I feel like a prisoner in my own home and didn't sign up for this sort of dysfunctional nonsense. This is affecting my sanity, my marriage, and my family. Any input or solutions are welcome. Please help. TLDR. Husband's ex-wife denies him contact with his daughter for years, dumps her onto us when it became inconvenient for her. I, husband's now second wife, am pregnant with our first child, and didn't expect the daughter to be such a vicious, spoiled animal. It's having a huge effect on my marriage and our family. Since I've started walking around with my hands casually on my belly when around Ava, she hasn't been hitting me as much as she used to. This morning over breakfast, in front of both my husband and me, Ava told me that I hope your baby dies. My husband had been asking her what she thinks we should name the baby. We came up with ways to try and include her in the pregnancy, and she said nothing. After my husband and I both took turns asking her, come on, you can think of a boy name and a girl name, she told me, I hope your baby dies. I didn't say anything and let my husband discipline her. But as always, his idea of discipline is to say simply, you're a big girl, you shouldn't say those things. I asked him into the next room and asked that he be more firm with her, as she had been physically punching me in the belly and now it's looking like she'll be saying she hopes the baby dies. Thanks for all your responses. I've read through each one of them, and though I couldn't reply to your comments, I really appreciated the input. One poster actually mentioned that I might be jealous of Ava's existence because it's a reminder that I'm going through a first marriage and my first pregnancy with someone who's done it all before. And you know what? I'll admit, that does bother me a bit. Having Ava be so behavioral and difficult as she is isn't really helping my feelings, either. Though I will say, not many commenters in my OP said much about what to do about Ava hitting me on my 5-month pregnant belly. But I can say that I've never talked badly about Biomom in front of her. If I seem hostile towards her, it's probably because she acts so beastly to me no matter what I do for her, cook for her, pack her lunches, pick her up from camp, and even resorts to hitting me, that I cannot look past. Sorry if that makes me immature and selfish, but I don't want to surround myself with that kind of negativity even if it comes from a 7-year-old. I'm going to ask my husband, he's speaking to Ava right now, that I'll be going to live with my parents for a while, or if not, my sister. I want to finish the rest of my pregnancy in peace and without stress. The best thing for me right now is to protect the baby in my own belly. Ava is also behavioral towards her father, so I'll say that this time can be used for Ava and husband to bond. It would temporarily move me out of sight and maybe allow husband some 1:1 time with Ava. Maybe by the time I'm back in the family home with our new addition she'll cool off a bit and we can start therapy, as many of you have suggested. Thanks for your input, Reddit. I appreciated every thought. TLDR. Ava is now saying she hopes the baby dies. Husband hears and is talking to her. I'm going to ask him if I can finish the rest of my pregnancy at my parents' or sister's home in peace and safety while he spends the time bonding with Ava, and we will all start some therapy time when I return with the new baby. Since my last update, we have put Ava into therapy and began attending marital counseling. Ava is going to therapy twice a week, and my husband and I are attending once a week. I'm glad that we managed to get everything out during our very first session, as we have the remainder of the sessions to work towards resolving the marriage as well. A lot of my anger has gone away since I moved out. I'm writing this from my parents' home and I feel safe and relaxed. I've been taking some maternity yoga classes for my own peace, and I think I quite like it. Husband and I talk or text almost every day over the phone, and we plan to meet up or have me come by once or twice a week to our family home to do family activities as the therapist suggested. I know many of you suggested that I stay in the family home, but the peace that I feel now with Peanut, we nicknamed the little one, I wouldn't trade this experience away. I finally feel like I can indulge and experience my pregnancy to its fullest. Ava and I did have one last violent fallout before I moved out. I put my hands on Ava when she came in for another swing. This was right after the talk that my husband had with her about absolutely no hitting, so I quickly grabbed her wrist. No hitting, no spanking, just grabbed her wrist to restrain her. I told her that I would not tolerate being hit, reminded her of the no hitting rule, and asked that she please stop. She retaliated by swinging her leg up to kick me in the stomach. Think Gerard Butler's This Is Sparta kick scene. My God, the willpower it took for me not to slap her across the face was burning, but I managed to walk away, in tears, but still, managed to tell her what big trouble she was going to be in for hitting again and came straight back with her dad in tow, who gave her a big stern lecture about it. This happened a day after the first child therapy session, so my husband and I were pretty relieved that we had got the ball rolling on that therapy, and he supports me 100% in my decision to move out until the end of my pregnancy. His issues are that he has no idea what to do with Ava, and is afraid that she will hate him if he is too hard on her. Remember that he was basically cut out of her life for almost her entire childhood until her biomom abandoned her. It was here that I told him that I was unhappy that he appeared to be bending over backwards for Ava while neglecting Peanut. I raised the issue of hard discipline and drawing rules, and the counselor will help us out in drawing up fair house rules. Some of them include no hitting and no name calling. Eat whatever is put on your plate. Dessert will only be after your meal is finished. Help out with household chores, small things, in exchange for a small allowance. My husband and I both agreed that we would treat Ava fairly and discipline the same way, and that the same rules for Ava would also apply to our own child. I know we won't be applying similar rules to the baby in its toddlerhood, but we feel it's a good guide and it can show Ava the nature of house rules and that life requires some order and discipline, things that she's probably not used to having around. But we're starting that now. We haven't heard from Rente-Woom for weeks now, not even a single phone call to see how Ava is doing with the transition. We both agreed that she is no longer welcome to intrude in our life. We will get some sort of ball rolling to claim for full custody now that she's proven herself to be an utterly incompetent human being. So here I am, resting with my Peanut and surrounded by my parents, sister, full of positive vibes. My husband and I are in marriage counseling, and Ava is in therapy. We plan to take some parenting courses at the local community center, and we will be bringing Ava with us. Maybe being around other little girls and boys expecting siblings will be there, and maybe some of their enthusiasm and attitudes will rub off on her. We'll be encouraging her to make some friends. Perhaps some playdates are in order? Edit. I've read all the PMs and the responses, and I'll do my best to read and respond to every one of them. A few things seem to be popping up over and over again, so I'm going to do my best to unify my stance. I originally came on this board, COP, to seek help and how I should deal with the Ava situation. Many commenters suggested therapy and that I should work together with my husband. It gave me a chance to reflect on how I was thinking, and I was able to process my state and emotions. This update is for those who asked for an update, and for all those who wanted to see how our family dealt with it in conclusion. I got the help and advice I needed, and chose to take the one that most resonated with me. I'm moving out until the end of my pregnancy, with my husband's support and blessing. Make me feel bad or selfish all you want. As I said in my last post, I'm not sorry for the decision I made. I don't care about whether I'm letting Ava win. We've set ground rules and therapy for her, and now it's time to take care of Emmy. You don't win anything against a 7-year-old child. When you have a 7-year-old violently punching and kicking your pregnant belly, then come and talk to me. I don't care if women in some countries have to lower and squat in a minefield to give birth to premature triplets. That's not the hand I was dealt, and I wish to have a stress-free pregnancy. I know I've had feelings of I want to slap the shit out of Ava, but I will not be putting my hands on her. Yes, I was beat as a child, punitively and only within reason, but I will never be beating or hitting her. Rent-a-womb seems pretty apt for a woman who gave birth to, and then proceeded to drag said child on a wagon tour around to fuck multiple men while keeping her away from her bio dad and abandoning her once it got inconvenient. I've used rent-a-womb since I've heard about and met this woman. She deserves no title of parent or mother. It's a nickname I call my husband's ex. Why can we call uninvolved dads sperm donors but not its female counterpart? Seems apt. A lot of you have PM'd me thanking me for my decision to move out. You also grew up in a blended family where you were abused by your step-siblings, and your bio parent was too afraid to discipline you and overlooked the abuse in lieu of hopes that it was just a rivalry phase that would go away. I knew there were other people who have gone through similar situations, and thank you for coming out of the woodworks. I appreciated those encouragements. Remember that blended families have very different dynamics than traditional families, and that there's no real set-in-stone guideline. Best of luck to everyone in similar shoes. TLDR, I've moved out to finish my pregnancy in peace with my husband's full blessing. Began setting up house rules together. Therapy and counseling have begun, and my baby isn't the only one who's kicking, but we're going to take it one day at a time. Thanks, community.